Well, hi, I'm Rick Dancer, and welcome to Get Real with Rick Dancer. And we're doing something a little different because a lot of you have been asking, like, Rick, you meet the weirdest people. I got to watch Matt and see his face. Yeah. No, you meet some of the most interesting people online, and how do you do it? And you know what? I think it's just because I'm open to it. And I honestly will ask my next guest, our first guest, and these are people I meet, and I'm just going to have them on the show once in a while, different folks, to just kind of have a conversation. Because I was listening to Jordan Peterson this morning, and he was talking about we've education is really a conversation. It's supposed to be. What it's turned into is indoctrination. But what it's supposed to be is conversation where the educator and the educatee are both learning something in the process. And I think we can learn a lot from other people, and I certainly do. And so we're going to do that on this episode of Get Real with Rick Dancer. Our sponsors today are Albert Taylor, Endless Possibilities. Love these people. They are basically group homes and also assisted living for people with different abilities. They do a wonderful job, and I'm going to play some stuff for you at the end of this so you can see more about them. And also Chris Dental Family Dentistry, Michael Bratland, my dentist, the doctor. Always, you don't have to have a vaccine to get into him. He believes that you should have the choice to do what you need to do. He's there to take care of your dental health, not to mandate anything else about who you are or what you do. So that's who he is, and he is also our sponsor. So let's get on with the show. Is that the coolest thing, Matt?
I mean, the coolest I've ever seen in my life. Yes.
This is Matt Slavik.
Yes,
And so he's a realtor. He's 38 years old, unmarried.
I mean, a couple more weeks and that changes. But
And I'm just going to throw this out there because I think it's impressive. A virgin. And
I guess it's out there. Yeah.
And his life's about to change because he's getting married. But also, you have an interesting history. And how did we even meet? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think you were stalking me online. No, and I don't even have TikTok anymore. I don't look at it, but somehow you popped up on my TikTok, the social media deal, and I think I sent you a message and you just said, "Man, great content, keep it up," and which I've done before. You know, I like to encourage people, and so never expected a response, but you responded, and we just kind of started going back and forth, and eventually it led to a FaceTime call, and I think we quickly became buddies.
Yeah, we're like brothers from a different mother, and we've never met in person. But I think it shows the power of it's stepping out, and I think there's a lot of people that are afraid to push those buttons or how people are going to see them. I was listening to Jordan Peterson this morning, and it was really interesting because it was taking risks and stuff, taking not being afraid of what other people are going to say, but instead go out and just do what you feel the right thing is. I had a young man write on Facebook the other day. I know him, but I don't know him well. But I saw it, and it sounded like he was going to take his life. So I went on and I just typed something, like, "Hey man, there's a lot of people out here who care about you. Do not do that."
Yeah.
And about 20 minutes later, my phone rings at 6:30 in the morning, and it's him. And we probably had a 30-minute phone call, and he wrote me back and said, "Thank you for doing that and for talking to me. And I feel better about, and I think that's what you and I do for each other too, is we're friends, and yet we've never met. I don't think you have to meet people. I mean, we'd like to meet each other.
Right.
But
I'm holding out hope you're gonna fly down for the wedding in a couple of weeks. Surprise me.
I've taken my time off. I'm like in trouble. So you're like a Christian guy.
Yeah, I am. I'm like one of those weird Christian guys.
So do this for me. I'm just going to start you right off because I feel like since you and I know each other, people will just jump into this and see. Hardest moment in your life.
Oh man, yeah, pretty easy. It was 10 years ago on September 1st. I was teaching at a school in West Texas. It was my first year teaching, first time at this school. The sort of abbreviated version is that this school took a trip every year to a different place. They called it the Adventure Club trip. And so my year, we were going to Zion National Park. So the plan was to leave West Texas, drive through the night to get to Zion on a Saturday morning. And we were all caravanning. So there was, I don't know, 8 vehicles, 8 Suburbans or something. And at some point, I took over driving, and as I normally do, I got us lost because I'm directionally challenged. And so we were kind of separated from the rest of the pack, but we were still going to Zion. So sometime around 2 a.m., I fell asleep driving. And as a result of that, there was a single car accident. So I woke up because I was going off the road. So I corrected. And when I did that, I started going off on the other side. So then I corrected again. And with that correction, the vehicle flipped. And that's all I remember. I woke up and it was dark. I didn't know where I was. Just very confused and scared, and eventually kind of get helped out of this car. And I'm asking what happened. I have no idea what happened. And eventually paramedics come and they put myself and one of the students that was in the car in the ambulance. And I said, what happened? And the guy just said, I'm going to tell you right now, 2 people are dead. And so it kind of all clicked. And I remembered, shoot, I was driving this car, and there were 4 students and a dad in the car with me. And I fell asleep, and as a result, these 2 boys died. The other 3 were in ICU for, I think, anywhere from 2 days to 7 days. And then I was in and out of the hospital. I banged my head on the driver's side glass and got knocked out, and I've got a scar on my head. But the other result of being in the ER was that I was coughing so much they did a chest X-ray, and they thought I had a collapsed lung, but it was just some severe bruising. But as a result of the X-ray, my kidneys popped up, and the nurse said, "Hey, get your kidneys checked out. It looks like there's cancer on your right kidney." So just kind of the cherry on top of a horrible night. And I can keep going, but it was, I thought I was going to jail for the rest of my life because I fell asleep and killed 2 boys. So then when I found out I had cancer, my immediate thought was, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm going to let this cancer take over. That's what I deserve. I deserve some pain. I deserve to have some kind of heartache, personally. And
Sorry.
you're good. And so that was my thought.
So you thought this was a punishment then?
Yeah. Or if it wasn't, I was going to make it a punishment. I was going to make sure that I was punished, because it's what I felt I deserved at the time.
So with the families, the parents of the kids that died, you have made amends with them.
Oh yeah. So that happened, like I said, Saturday morning, 2 a.m. And so that Monday or Tuesday, I believe, the younger boy who passed away, his parents contacted me almost immediately, and they wanted to meet with me. So I walked into their house, like I said, on that Monday or Tuesday, and people were kind of going in and out, consoling them. And so my family had come down at that time too. So we walked in the house, and they beelined for me, and immediately they both gave me hugs, and they told me they loved me, and they prayed for me, and that they forgave me. They didn't want me to feel any guilt or shame, or they knew it was an accident, and the older boy who died, his mom, it took her a few weeks, but same thing. I met with her a few weeks later, and she, the line that she said that I will never forget, and that made me cry the most, was, she said, I don't think I need to tell you this, but in case you need to hear it, I forgive you.
Wow.
Just powerful words, and I said, of course I need to hear that. And that's how I still talk with them periodically. And I mean, we don't talk about the accident really ever, but to them, I'm Matt. I'm not Matt, the accident guy, or whatever. I'm Matt, and they enjoy interacting with me. And though they're invited to the wedding, and
So from your perspective, oh, seriously, both families are?
Well, I was closer with the younger boy's family than the older boys, so just the younger one. Yeah,
Just because I know you and I think you're fine with this, but it doesn't go away.
right. Yeah. No, it.
Because Matt and I had you were in a funk,
Mhm.
and around the time of the accident, and Matt reaches out to me and says, "I'm just having a hard time because that's all coming back."
Yeah.
And is that do people not understand that, you think, about when somebody, you know what I mean? Go ahead.
I, yeah, I mean, yes and no, I guess. I think people want to understand, or they want to be available, be helpful. But with something like that, I mean, there's not really much that people can do or say, and so it's difficult. Yeah, but
How how has that left a mark on your life?
yeah, I mean, for one, I think I've become more forgiving of people. I have a hard time forgiving myself, but just more
Why?
forgiving,
Why?
just because I'm hard on myself.
Why are
Uh,
you hurting yourself?
Come on, Rick, we're not supposed to be. No, I guess part of this is I'm an identical twin, and he's always been. I've always seen him as the older brother. He's been married for a decade and has two boys, and he started on the basketball team in high school or whatever, and so there's a little bit of comparison with my brother, and I'm trying to hold myself to some high standard that doesn't exist. Nobody else has ever communicated to me that I'm not good enough in some way. It's all me. Um, and so that's just I've always and I'm working through it, I think, but I've always been somebody that if you don't beat me up, I'm going to beat me up. Um, and I probably pass it off as false humility, but
So did that come from before the accident, though? Probably.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The accident has I think made me be more forgiving of others and to not stress out as much about little things that I don't need to stress about. You know,
So do you think, Matt, that that's what? I mean, you just haven't found the right person, and now you have. But it's unusual to be 38 and not married.
yeah.
And do you think that your self worth talk in your head is what kind of kept you from?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, there have certainly been girls in the past I could have married, and I mean, but I'm very thankful for Katie, is my fiance's name.
It's cute.
She, I mean, she could do so much better than me. She has no
See,
idea.
there you go, though. Now you're doing it.
I know. Yeah, I that's definitely part of it, and she's not perfect. She's got her own struggles on things, but um, it's been really cool because we met almost a decade ago, and I didn't see who she was, I think, at the time, and so now a decade later, here we are engaged, and yeah, we're both very excited. And it,
So, so
yeah,
how does God play a role in your life?
I mean, hopefully, not always, but hopefully, he's kind of the lens through which I do everything. When the accident happened, I could have seen it as this random thing, and maybe it was random, but and then I just got to move on by myself. But and even the parents of the boys as another thing, as a real quick aside, the community that where this accident happened and lost their boys, they paid for my flights to Houston to go to MD Anderson and paid for my kidney surgery to remove the cancer. And so, like, for me, that is a big example of God's grace. And like, these parents at best should be indifferent towards me, but they choose to love me and go the extra mile, pay for stuff. By far the younger boy's family, and they would hate that I said this, but they've given us the biggest financial wedding present, or biggest cost wedding present, by far. And so, yeah, I think everything I do, I try to do through the lens of, um, one, does this please the Lord? Yes or no? But then two, when things happen, it's like, well, is God trying to teach me something, or is He trying to refine me in some way? But then I think also it allows me to not get so worked up and so bent out of shape when I'm in traffic or whatever. Not to say that I'm perfect, because as you know, I'm certainly not perfect. um,
Sorry, I couldn't. You didn't read my lips saying far from. I was listening to Peterson this morning,
yeah.
and he was talking about how fearful people are
Mhm.
of really going, asking your partner, your friends, or something, like really addressing issues to go deeper, and we would rather just um, kind of float
Yeah.
rather than go deeper. And I was listening to another podcast a while back, and they were talking about how young people have a really difficult time going deep. Do you have a tough time going deep?
I don't think I do. I mean, our first FaceTime conversation, or maybe even before that, was, I felt like I was talking to an uncle, or an older brother immediately. Like I felt like
A
we.
slightly older brother, like in his sort of early 40s, right?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
that's not. And I'm in my 20s.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's slightly older, not quite as good looking, but
But a hell of a lot more hair on his head.
oh man, that's true.
So
Yeah,
do you what is your hope for your future now? Because you're getting married in like 2 weeks,
yeah, 2 weeks.
and Katie obviously knows all
Yeah,
well, most of the stuff from your past and all that
right.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the cancer, does that still have any residual
No,
lastings for you?
yeah. So I had a surgery and removed it, and then I had a checkup every year for 5 years, and then my last checkup was in 2019, maybe 2020. And yeah, basically the doctor at that point was like, I don't know what you're still doing coming here. uh, just because every year, thereafter, my kidney function kept improving and everything looked great. And I was never given any kind of dietary restrictions or physical restrictions. And so I still have both kidneys. My right one is just smaller. Um, so no, nothing. I've never felt anything. I mean, it was small enough. Had the accident not happened, I wouldn't have known I had kidney cancer until it was too late. To um,
Isn't that the weirdest part about
I
it?
mean, yeah, and
It's
yeah,
it's the most traumatic thing probably that's ever happened in your life.
yeah,
And it's a weird way to put, and I don't mean this. I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but it actually was a gift in some ways because
yeah,
it showed you something.
yeah,
Unfortunately, two people died,
right,
but it's just do you kind of see life as like this story that you have control over it in some ways, but in
right,
other ways you don't, and how God has used those families to help you continually.
yeah,
So that should put that to rest for you, but it still doesn't because you're a human being.
right, right. Yeah,
And
I
for a
mean,
guy that beats himself up already, this is an interesting thought.
yeah. Let's hear
Somebody
it.
who self-deprecates and kind of beats themselves up anyway, um, you have everything telling you
Mhm,
stop doing this. The
mhm.
families are close to you. You get your kidneys paid for, your kidney surgery paid for. I mean, you can't ask for a better
I know.
situation from a horrible, horrible situation,
Uh-huh.
and yet you still beat yourself up. So
Yeah.
how do you tell yourself the truth?
Gosh, I mean, it's a constant reminding, and thankfully I've got, you know, I wish you were around, physically close to me. That came out wrong maybe, but I've got friends around me, and guys like you that remind me of truth. And it's sometimes unsolicited, which is great because I need that. I had a buddy on the anniversary this year ask me, how do I have these opposing thoughts? Are they, one of this self-deprecation, I'm the worst, and this other one that's very grace filled. And I remember, ironically, I remember the accident fondly because of all the forgiveness and love that was shown to me. But and so I just, somehow they exist, but hopefully there's more of the grace and love and less of the self-deprecating. But yeah, it obviously happens. And this year, especially since it was 10 years, was tough. I spent, I think God puts really important relationships around me and around everybody, because when I forget, they can remind me of truth. And so, and you know, part of it is, well, Rick, you're not a liar. I know you're not a liar. You're not somebody, you don't BS. And so if you tell me something and it's encouraging, well, then I have no reason not to believe you. I have to take that, I have to take you at your word and not think, well, Rick's just trying to, give me my strokes and make me feel better. Well, no, you mean what you say.
Right.
So I have to remind myself. It's just a lot of reminding myself of stuff.
So,
Unfortunately.
so here's an interesting question, and I don't know why I'm asking you this publicly, but I think it's kind of interesting. Is
Oh, here
now
we go.
now he's scared. Oh, here we go. Oh, here. So when you have that bad day, why did you reach out to somebody that you're in Arkansas and I'm in Montana,
Yeah.
and what's that? Am I
I,
am I safe?
yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you're safe. I think at the time I knew that you'd probably respond, and that I mean that to say you maybe it's a text or maybe your response is call me, or you would just I just knew that you would in some way respond, and at least for the moment, and I was hoping not just for the moment but to continue on, you'd make me laugh and make me feel better. Like you're a guy that, like some other friends I have, you're a good mix of empathy and sarcasm. And on a day like that, that's what I need. I need empathy and sarcasm. So
Because
that's why I reached.
empathy is really who you are, but
Yeah.
sarcasm is kind of how you code it.
Right.
And so if you're mixed with people that can do the same thing and understand that, we can see, I see through that, but it's also you need that as a
Right.
salve to kind of make it not hurt as bad.
Right. Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're about to get married, and yeah, I know you guys want to have children right away. So let's say you have a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
What would you tell them about your life?
Oh man, what a great question. I would tell them that, man, I've made a ton of mistakes, and I'm certainly not perfect, but I've tried to do my best to trust the Lord and trust the friendships around me and the relationships around me, as I kind of walk through each day. But then also, it doesn't take much to encourage someone.
And you're really good at that. I mean, that's kind of your thing, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Well, part of this too, a year and a half before the accident happened to the day, my dad passed away suddenly. He had a stroke, and I didn't have the relationship with my dad that I wish I would have had. And so ever since then, I've kind of, I've thought, man, if somebody's important to me in any way, I want to tell them, and I want to almost ad nauseum. I want them to if I die tomorrow, I want people to know, hey, Matt cared about me, because I do, and it's not fake. It's genuine. That I love getting to connect with people. I think it's awesome to hear people's stories. And so, yeah, for me, it just really ever, which is, this is more of an answer than you want probably, but I'm really close with my fiance's father, and I've been so thankful for that, because he hates it when I call him my father-in-law, just because he likes to be called buddy or brother or whatever. But it's nice to have somebody that's going to be consistently in my life, that I can bounce things off of, and just he is a father. He's got the role of father in his title. Good grief, I couldn't say that. So that's really important to me too. Is making sure people know that I think they're awesome, because for the most part, people are awesome. I mean, excluding anybody with the last name Dancer, but
My relatives Tap and Fan are going to be very, very, very
oh
angry.
my.
So, and Bubbles, she's not going to like you either. My parents could have done harm. I have three sisters: Bubbles, Tap, and Belly. I'm kidding. That's not
Yeah.
the real. So, do you think it's kind of interesting, Matt, how God is a restorer? I mean, your life, if you were going to sit down and say, what is Matt Slavik's life about?
Yeah.
It's restoration. It's
Uh-huh.
restoration. So horrible thing happens, and and no offense to you, but you're just a dumb shit, and it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with you. But it's how it's like. Here's this continual cycle of you need a
Uh-huh.
dad, you have a father-in-law
Yeah.
who's now your dad.
Yeah.
You end up accidentally killing two people, and those
Yeah.
parents become people who then are helping to restore you.
Right.
Your kidney, you gets restored because of
Yeah.
this whole thing. It gets found out because this. I mean, it's like this whole thing. I wonder if that's like the theme that has. I wonder. I think if God has a plan for us and He has a thing that He's doing with us. If there's not a word, that
Yeah.
comes over people's names, I would think that yours would be the restorer, because
I like
not
that.
only do you restore, when you call me, you make me feel really good and you're
Yeah.
restoring something in me. You also need restoration.
Yeah.
And so you know what that feels like. So when somebody needs restoring, you're able to do it, but you need that back as well.
No, yeah, that's good. I mean, I think, wow, I hadn't thought about that, but that is very good. And just when we do meet, you're going to need to restore after the ass whooping that I give you too. Sorry, I just wanted to say that. No,
I need
I think
restoration after my ass whipping. That's always threatening to whip my ass he
that's
doesn't
what I
like it. He doesn't like it when my comments trump his, and I don't mean Donald Trump. I just mean Trump his comments.
well,
And because we
rarely
kind of
happens.
outdo each other all the time. This stuff.
Well, I've got an identical twin, so we go back and forth a lot too.
See, and that's a funny thing we have in common. I don't have an identical twin because she's not nearly as good looking as me. She does have the same beard, but she's not nearly as good looking as me. But my twin sister. So yeah, maybe that would be a weird thing to come from. And you guys are identical. I see the picture.
Oh, yeah.
So tell them really quickly about your podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, it was born out of just out of a desire to spend time with each other, because my brother and I, although we are twins, we weren't close growing up. We had the same friends, same interests. We weren't friends until the time our dad died. And I've always lived in a different state until about 3 years ago. I lived in Texas for a while, and then, after college, Texas, and then Idaho, and so we just kind of were like, man, we had some time lost, and we want to make up for it. And so for us, it's just a way to connect intentionally. And so I tell people, it's not, if you're looking for substance, don't listen to our podcast. But basically, it seems like we land on top 10 things, so like top 10 restaurants or top 10 movies or something. But it's just a way for us to talk, and if people want to listen to it, they can. But
What's it called? Tell them what it's called.
Not a clever name, but it's called Twin-tastic Tuesday.
I think it's a clever name. Did you hear that? That's kind of interesting too. Is your father passed away, which then restored your relationship with your brother?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So see, maybe that's the key here, Matt. Is not just with you, but with everybody. If you allow restoration to happen, out of bad, really, really good things can happen.
Yeah.
But don't expect to see it when it's happening.
Right.
But years later, and and I think what life and death is in the power of the tongue. So we can say, I don't have a good relationship. I'll never have a relationship with my brother. Instead, you said, Dad's gone. We got to figure this out together.
Yeah.
And you do that. I think that's a good lesson for everybody.
Yeah. The rear view mirror is always nicer to look into than the windshield, the front window. It's easy to see what was going on. But yeah, so man, that's good. Rick, I might keep you around, man. Just might keep it.
I don't. Good, because can I stop that $20 a week payment I have to the friend? You call it a friendship clause or something in the contract I signed?
I'll take it down to 15.
Okay, God, because you're about breaking me. It says I have to. I'm so obnoxious. I have to pay for friends. That kind of thing.
That's right.
It's like, Matt, feeling bad. God, here's my $15, and then I get a text. Yeah, what do you need? Oh no, I'm really interested in your world, Rick. Yeah, no, yeah, Rick who? Rick. Is this Rick Johnson or Rick Dancer?
What's your name? Mick, is it?
Mick.
Oh, Rick. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Mick. Matt, thanks for taking your time to
yes, sir.
Chat with us. I really like doing stuff like this, and I think that's how people learn. It's how I learn, and
I agree.
just by having a conversation with people. So
Well, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. It's
no,
awesome.
I welcome you anytime. And if you have something come up that needs to be talked about, let's do it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, love you.
Love you too.
All right, see you, Matt.
Bye.
All right, so that's Matt, my friend Matt. So see how that works? It's just it's called conversation. It's the art of conversation. And I think what I learned from that, not just that conversation, but from I feel like there's some discernment involved in all that. Because I mean, I get a lot of people writing me and stuff, and I don't acknowledge anything, but I'll hear when somebody like a Matt wrote me, and I just hear this little thing, and it's not like God. I think it's God whispering in my ear, but I don't hear him going like that bullshit. I just feel like it's reach out, and then you do, and things happen. I've had just as many times when I didn't, and more times when I did and I stopped. So it's all a dance. I told you this before, life is a dance, and you find partners, you find people to dance with. And I think when we're all done with this world and into the next life, whatever that is for you or me, or however that works, we don't know. But I think you'll be matched up with those people. This is the team you're building on earth, the team that you will spend eternity with. I honestly believe that with everything inside of me. So do you want to have an interesting life with a large team? Or do you want to have a selfish life with few people in it? Well, I want to have a life that I can experience everything. So you take a chance and you risk it, and then you back off if it doesn't work. But fortunately for me, in this relationship, it works. So that's a good thing. And I love watching his life change, and I love the fact that he's 38 years old and he's still a virgin. And he's going to get married finally and have a family and all that stuff, because that is a rarity in our culture. I don't care if you're not or not. I wasn't, but that's not the point. I think there's something profound about that. So to me. Anyway. All right. So our sponsors are Cristiano Family Dentistry, where everybody matters. And now is the time of year you need to get in there and get your dental appointments, because people are booking them up like crazy, and Bratland is busier than heck. And later this month, Michael's involved with a group that makes their own crowns right here in the United States. They're not Chinese crowns. These are real American crowns, and they last, and they're made out of good material, and they're less expensive. So he's going to be coming up later this month, and we got so much stuff planning. I've got a lady who does chainsaw art in Oregon who made my Wally the bear. Tonight, or this is not tonight because this is airing on Wednesday. Last night, go back and look at that sheet. There's a forest here in Montana that is one of the most forested areas, and they're trying some new forest management plans on it. So we're going to talk about that this evening. All right, I'm going to run a couple of ads real quick here, and then we'll let you guys go.
This is Dr. Michael Bratland from Chris Dental. Just because we live in Oregon doesn't mean we have to accept this crazy left-wing ideology the rest of our lives. We don't have to succumb to CRT, gender identity indoctrination, out-of-control homelessness, crime, and so on. We can actually make a change, and it starts with the next election. Right now, it is our responsibility to make sure that those who share our same values are elected in November. Make sure you and everyone that you know actually votes. We can and will take back Oregon.
And joining us is John and Peggy Devereaux. They are part of the Albert Taylor gang.
Yes.
How long have you guys been with Albert Taylor, Peggy?
I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Since the early 80s?
In the 80s,
So
we couldn't do anything without Josh.
Well, you could do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Josh takes us to Wendy's,
Thrift shopping.
grocery shopping.
I mean, and honestly, they see the best in people, and people tend to see the best in them. They're honestly some of the most accepting and friendly people that I know.
So if you're looking for a career or a job or something that really makes a difference in people's lives, and to be around honest people who will tell you the truth all the time, Albert Taylor, Endless Possibilities. Check out their website, look under jobs, and you can find out how to get involved with them. They're always looking for good people, and you might just be one of them. All right, I'm Rick Dancer. We will see you right here tomorrow night with Kim Stark, Compton Wines. Who else is going to be with us tomorrow? Oh, and Bill London will be here with his newscast for the week. All right. Share this on your page. Let other people know what's going on. Have a good night. Let us know what you think of this new series. I'd love to hear.